prove what we believe. We should not be looking for Scripture to prove that I'm right. We should be looking for Scripture to disprove that we're right. And if we can't find Scripture to disprove what we believe, then we have even more reason to believe that it's correct. Right? If you're taking a doctrine and you go looking for Scripture to prove your doctrine, likely you'll find something. You can pull something out of a hat. You can make something twist and bend. But if your goal is to prove that what you believe is incorrect, and you can't, then you have reason to believe that it's right. That's how research works. Wyatt's landed. He's going to catch the last few minutes here. So, as we're going through this, as we're going through these scriptures, our goal shouldn't be to say, oh, that supports, that proves Jesus is coming back here, 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 or here. That's not what we want to do. What we want to say is, do we have Scripture that disagrees, that proves that doesn't happen? Is there a place in Scripture that says it won't happen there? Right? Well, no, not there, not there, not there. That one maybe. We better shelf that one and look at that one a little bit. Let's gather some more data from Scripture, and then we'll come back and see if this makes more sense. Not there? Here's one. This one says it can't be because these things aren't in sequence if that's there. So now what do I do? Then we fall back and we regroup. We go, well, if this Scripture says something that I didn't think before, the Scripture isn't wrong, I better adjust what I believe, and now I'm going to go back and I'm going to relook at those Scriptures again and see if they make sense from a different light. So when I wrote my book on the crucifixion, I spent 5 months just studying the crucifixion. All I did was study the crucifixion. That was it. Hours a day, 5 months straight. And there were times when I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't put this into pieces. Lord, what am I missing? There was like with the New Jerusalem in the Revelation study, that was just 3 months. Just the New Jerusalem took me 3 months because it was such a twist on my brain to understand. It was so against what I'd been taught. When I looked at Scripture, I kept running into Scriptures that disagreed with what I'd been taught over the years. And I'm like, okay, well that's not true. I've got to readjust, put it back in here, now what? Now I understand this part, what about this? I'm studying Scripture, like, if it's this way, then this can't be true. Well, now it makes absolute sense, complete sense. And why I wasn't taught this from the beginning, I have no idea. But it took me months to unlearn what I had learned so that I could get the Scripture in my head, right? It's frustrating, you know, and you look at it and you go, how can I have believed this for so many years and never even known? It's because when we find something that's believable, we stop looking. It's like, I found the truth. You see it all the time on Facebook, right? Justin, you see it on Facebook. People find a position they want to support, they don't listen anymore. That's why I don't do anything on Facebook. I don't talk on Facebook anymore because people don't want to talk. They just want to defend themselves. So I say all that just to say this. As we're going through the rest of these scriptures, just lay your stuff down and let Scripture be Scripture. Just let it be Scripture. You have my word that it all makes sense. By the time you're done, it'll all click. It'll all make sense. There'll be some things that you'll go, wow, I thought that was true. I'm going to have to second guess that a little bit. Or you're going to say, that's not true, and I thought it was. There are going to be things like that you're going to run into, but it's okay. It's all right. The goal is to let the Scripture formulate our brains. That's what we need to do. So, anyway. Anybody, thoughts, questions, anything? Nope. Got no head, no shake, nose, no shakes, no shakes. Anybody online? Anybody, anything? Questions, thoughts? Okay, so next week when we get together, now we're here next week. So we're here next week. The week after that I'm on vacation. I won't be here. Next week we are here. Next week we are having class. So when we get back together, Matthew 24, we're going to pick up where we left off, and let's just do a feed forward real quick. So we left off with the abomination of desolation showing up. We'll likely jump into a little bit more Daniel so that we can talk, because there's a history. So Alexander the Great, the Greek world conqueror, had 4 kings, Lysimachus, Cassander, Ptolemy, and Seleucus. And the beast comes out of one of those kingdoms. So we're going to talk about that. Interestingly, I believe it's either the Seleucid dynasty or the Ptolemaic dynasty. I feel fairly confident from Scripture that it's the Ptolemaic or the Seleucid dynasty, which actually happens to go up into Germany. We have some fairly well-known individuals in our lives currently that hail their ancestry from the area of Germany that is part of the Seleucid dynasty. So we'll talk about the beast. We'll talk about his character, who he is, a little bit more about his personality. We're going to talk about what he does, and then we're going to jump in, we're going to come back here, and that's going to open up the door to the Great Tribulation, because you'll notice that we have not yet entered the tribulation period. All we've had are the times of sorrows. The Great Tribulation doesn't happen until verse 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world, nor shall be. So we haven't even entered the tribulation yet. We're just in the time of sorrows right now. So we'll talk more about the beast. We'll jump from the time of sorrows into the tribulation period, and we'll venture then on into Jesus' declarations of preparation, what we're supposed to do to be prepared. So that's what we're going to cover next week. And then you'll have a break to let it all soak in 1 week, and then we'll come back for 4 weeks, and I'm just going to pump you full of everything I can possibly get into in 4 weeks. Because trying to get this done, this is going to sound like a lot, but trying to get this all in 15 weeks between now and the end of January, I know that that sounds like a long time, but it's not. There is so much information that my goal in doing the class slower like this, instead of just doing the weekend intensive, the Friday night and all day Saturday, is to give you time to think about it, to come back next week, have questions, have thoughts, right? We'll get back together, ask things. So my goal, I'm hoping that everybody online, everybody here, you guys all end up processing this and coming back with, chewing capabilities. So, last questions? Anybody thought anything? Are we done? Good? Yes? Everybody on good? All right?
Thank you.
All right. Love y'all. See you next week.
Love you.
Have a good week. We love you. Have a great